Hello, this is Peter Hollemans. I'm the primary software developer for the CoastWatch data analysis tool and the CoastWatch utilities. And in my previous video, I showed how to load data into CDAT, and so that's where we are here with this window. And in this video, I'll talk about the main components of the CDAT window and also show how to navigate around the data view, which is in the user's guide section 3.1 and 3.3 in chapter 3. So I'll start with the menu bar at the top. On a Mac, the menu bar is at the top of the screen, whereas on Windows and Linux, it's at the top of the window. So here I'm on a Mac, and you can see the menu bar has a number of file operations, view operations, some tools here, and the help menu. And for the keen observers of my last video, I'm not running the same version that I actually installed. I'm running 3.3.1, which is a beta build that will be available soon from the coastwatch.noaa.gov website, and I'm running it here on Mac OS. So this is how you can tell what version of CDAT you're running. So moving down the toolbar here, file operations here, and a set of view navigation operations here, which I'm going to go through in a few minutes. Below that we have the file tabs, which has a tab for every open file. Right now I only have one file open, but if I had multiple files open, each one would show up here and each tab would operate independently. Down on the left-hand side here of the data view are the control tabs that let you alter how the image looks in the data view. For example, how values are mapped to colors, the grid and coastlines that you want to show on top of the image, etc. Then there's the data view here in the middle, and it has its associated color scale over here on the right-hand side, showing the mapping of data values to colors. And on the right-hand side of that is the name of the currently active variable and the units that its data values are in. At the top of the data view is the variable selector, and that lets you pick which 2D spatial grid to display of the grids that you loaded from the file. So in my case, I loaded an AVHRR file, and I have three variables here, AVHRR channels, in this case channel 1, 2, and 4, which I can select to display in the data view, and then the data view and color scale change accordingly. Finally, at the bottom of the screen down here, I have the track bar, which shows where the mouse cursor currently is in the data view, the geographic coordinates and the data coordinates, row and column, along with the data value under the mouse cursor. So for example, I hover my mouse cursor over the middle of the typhoon here, and I see a AVHRR channel 1% albedo of 70. And over the open ocean over here, I see a data value of 2.91. So that's the set of components that are in the CDAT window, and I'd like to take a look now at how to navigate in the data view. The tools that I mainly use are the zoom and pan, and I'll show you that. If you click the zoom button up here and pick an area of interest, for instance this typhoon here, it will zoom to that rectangle that you selected, and then you can click the pan button and pan around the area at the same resolution that the zoom zoomed into. So I tend to use that mainly. Another tool that I use a lot is the actual button, which makes it so that the data is shown as is without any zoom factor. So if I click this, then every data pixel is represented by one pixel on the screen. Now to go back to the original view where I could see the entire data grid, I use reset. There you go, you can see it's as it was when I opened the file. And you can try some of the other buttons as well. Those are the ones that I mainly use though. There's one other thing that I wanted to show here in navigating around the data view, which is the full screen mode. In this new beta version, it's actually in the view menu, and in the previous version, it's in the tools menu. But either way, you can use Command F as in full screen, or Control F on Windows or Linux to get to full screen mode. I'll do it here by selecting this. And what that does is it just takes away the rest of the controls and the desktop and lets you see the data in full screen. And there's a subset of the buttons here for navigation. So for instance, I still have the zoom button here, so I'll select an area of interest again. And there we go. I can also click the one-to-one, and you have a really nice large image display. One of the neat things with this mode is that you can, if you just put your mouse cursor off to one side and wait, the control panel will disappear and you can do a screen capture, and that's one of the easiest ways to get data out of, or sorry, rather to get an image out of CDAT for a meeting or a presentation. Now, if I want to exit full screen mode, just click close over here. Okay, so that's it for this video showing the basics of CDAT and how to navigate around the data view. The next video I'll show how to change the color mapping and turn on and off overlays on top of the image that show coastlines and grid lines, etc. Thanks for watching.